First, we had politicians protesting outside of an ICE facility and actually making entry into the ICE facility as a protest of the detention of the worst at this ICE facility in New Jersey. And now we have religious leaders blocking the entrance to that same ICE facility, housing the worst of the worst. And the question is why? Well, first, let's see if they can explain it. Here you go.
Faith leaders blocking the entrance to a federal detention center for migrants in Newark, sending a message.
We will continue to show up. We will continue to apply pressure. Delaney Hall refuses to comply with the most basic standards of safety and health.
At least 50 clergy members wearing green armbands marched on Doremus Avenue to the gates of Delaney Hall, joined by pro-migrant activists calling for the Department of Homeland Security to shut down the site.
Think of all the names of the people who have been disappeared from your communities.
Because we're in crisis, right? The country itself has been with an immigration narrative that is very criminalizing.
Faith in Action leaders are calling on the Department of Homeland Security to release the identities of the people detained in Delaney Hall, to allow a congressional delegation to complete an oversight visit, and to permit the city of Newark to conduct all necessary inspections.
No se sabe lo que va a pasar con ellos, pero le están levantando. Saben su estatus ahora mismo y qué va a pasar con ustedes.
This man rallying outside of Delaney Hall says he was able to connect with a friend who he claims is being held at the detention center. A man detained who was Dominican says he has a domestic violence case on his record, but denied any suggestion he is an MS-13 gang member.
With all due respect to religious leaders, it just doesn't make any sense that they would prioritize their time by blocking the entrance to an ICE facility holding really bad people from a list of the crimes they've committed. Don't just take it from me. Here's a gentleman who's going to speak about some of the crimes that those detained at that ICE facility in New Jersey are either charged with or guilty of. Here you go.
They've all been accused of serious crimes.
I don't know why you would want to run on this platform. I'm a career law enforcement officer, and I don't want to go out and support MS-13 terrorists. I don't want to go out there and support child rapists. And those are the people behind those fences.
And once again, it gets back to why. Why would religious leaders of all people block the entrance to this facility? And the best explanation I can come up with is attention. And then the question becomes, attention for what? You know, you're drawing attention to the fact that people are detained in an ICE facility and you don't agree with it. We got one gentleman who struggles to speak English or can't speak English, who's trying to figure out why somebody he knows is in a facility, only to find out that the guy in the facility he's inquiring about is in there because of domestic violence. And those are the people religious leaders are going to stick up for. None of this makes a whole lot of sense. And then there's another person talking about, well, there's a lot of negative judgment towards immigration. Yeah, you're right, there is. You know, we've had millions of people come into the country illegally, and there are a lot of people that came with those people who are violent criminals. You know, you break into the country illegally, and I don't care what pretense you want to use for it. You're here illegally. You're breaking a law. And we have a country that's based upon laws, and it has to be consistent. You know, we can't give illegal immigrants a break just because people want to say, well, you're prejudiced against them. No, man, it's not prejudiced against them. They're here illegally. Okay. And as per the Constitution, they cannot stay indefinitely. This administration was put into office in no small part because the majority of the country, and I'm just talking Republicans, the majority of the country are smart enough to realize we have a problem at the border. It needs to be closed and people need to be deported. The Constitution gives him the right to do that. And here we are. So getting back to the why is, why would you spend your time defending people who are really guilty of doing some incredibly violent things as a religious leader? And then I take it a step further and think about priorities. I mean, you're going to take time out of your day, instead of ministering to your flock, people that are married, single, going through the challenges of life, trying to keep a job, keeping a job, working their butts off, trying to pay the bills, and just struggling with day-to-day life. You don't want to spend your time focusing on those people. You want to spend your time, and you chose to spend your time defending the worst of the worst. And that's a problem. If you want to minister to those people, well, make an appointment and minister to them. They have the right to receive that ministering, and you have the right to give it to them. But to make a scene by blocking the gates to an ICE facility housing very violent people is a serious misuse of their time, in my humble opinion. All it's going to do is bring further attention to the fact that we have a problem with illegal immigration. We have a problem with violent criminal illegal immigrants. We need to get them out of the country. And Democrats think this is a winning strategy for them. And with all due respect to them, I almost hope they keep it up, because it's not going to be a winning strategy. They are going to lose more in 2026 and, Lord willing, in 2028. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I don't want to, these are people of the cloth, so to speak. I don't want to judge them too harshly. But at some point in time, somebody needs to tell these people, listen, as a representative of your God, let's say, don't you think it's more important to minister to the people struggling in your own community that are going to your church that are not in this facility? Do you think they have an issue with their priorities? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, until next time, God bless. Love you all.